Tales from the Crypt or something.
Okay, so it is Thursday, June 6th, 2024, and it is 4:05 p.m. I think we'll go ahead and forego the pledges and the invocation, and we'll do that just before the city council meeting. And so, are there any public comments? Okay, so we'll just move on to the agenda.
So look at it from that standpoint too. We want to just kind of see where we are as a gauge.
So, we're working with the county, on sirens.
Mhm.
So that when people hear the sirens, they would know to go to a higher. ground. Unfortunately, still don't have them working
Are they in?
for the city.
Are they in though? The
Yes,
sirens are in?
yes.
Okay.
So they've checked the batteries and it's hooked to the county emergency system. So that when there is an emergency, they're the ones that are gonna push the button in Lockhart.
Got it. So when we do this community survey, I'll show you in just a few when we get to that point, we can change a question to be informative. So are you aware of the sirens that are in place and will be?
Hey guys,
activated?
real quick. City Hall seems to be, oh, nope, my bad. City Hall's not muted. Sorry, guys. Keep going, Jerry.
Okay. What are the two hazards you believe pose the biggest threats to Martindale's future resilience? Is it back to floods?
Flooding, yeah.
It seems to be with most communities, flooding and drought,
Drought,
from one
yeah.
extreme to the other. Either you've got too much or not enough. And so a way to conserve
Are we talking about just as it pertains to weather or
extreme
anything?
heat, wildfires, anything.
Number 3.
I don't have
Extreme
it.
heat. You have a survey?
Oh, I bet I do.
Here it is.
Just might as well jump ahead because I've collected draft goals and objectives from all your existing plans. And that's what that document is.
Okay,
So it may remind you of some of the things Gary's asking about. But
okay,
like that alert system is addressed in one of those goals. It's a mixture of your goals and Caldwell County's.
okay.
Because I wanted to make sure I got all viewpoints about what your draft resiliency goals are gonna be as we go along. So
Okay,
might as well use that now instead of keeping it a secret.
Yeah, you'll see we touch on these. Like I said, with most key stakeholder meetings, we're just starting to break the door open. With you all, we've just got a little behind schedule, so we're catching up with a lot of things. And Tim has done a lot of research and assessed all of your current plans, studies, strategy, everything that you all have done in the community. And it's very eye-opening when the communities go, we have all those plans and they have not been really researched and looked at closely for a while. Not that you all are
Yeah.
in that predicament, but we do see that there's a lot of stuff out there and we're gonna bring it all together. So, number 3, extreme heat right now, flooding could quickly take priority if something happened there.
yeah.
How prepared is Martindale with evacuation routes, emergency sheltering plans, and communication for disasters?
Well, right now, the emergency sheltering are the churches.
And do people know about that?
I believe so.
So what would you say on 1 to 5?
That's the
Well, I
churches.
have to say 3 on the overall thing, because obviously with that, not having the siren
Yeah.
fully functional at this point, that's obviously not great.
Luling the county is building an evacuation shelter.
Mhm.
And it's gonna be a big one, but it is in Luling, so people would have to be able to get to the Highway 80. And as long as there's not any flooding on Highway 80, they would be able to get to that shelter.
Back to
Or-
traffic.
Or
Yeah,
Lockhart.
or to
Lockhart.
San Marcos or
Lockhart.
Lockhart, yeah. But the churches have been really good at
Yeah.
that.
And we'll find out more when we reach out into the community. You may be surprised pleasantly that they know more than you think they know as the community, or that they're completely not aware at all. Because we've been to meetings where, oh, they know everything, they know where to, and then we do the survey and they're like, we had no idea. So we'll get a good feedback on that. How important is it for the city to invest in upgrades to infrastructure such as utilities, transportation to improve resilience? 1 to 5.
So important, very important.
4 or 5.
Yeah,
Ours is roads, and it's been a constant battle for us since we don't have the county doesn't, we used to years ago, way before our time, the county used to repair our roads. We're on our own. And,
Yep.
it's very, very costly for us to do this. We've done Lockhart. We got so many more to do. That's probably our biggest problem, partly as far as infrastructure. Transportation and our treatment plant, however, we do have grants. Thanks to you guys, we have a grant for that.
Yes.
But we're gonna go on and discuss future growth, but that's not a subject.
We sure will.
Yeah.
And as we move through this and grants are identified that could assist you, that's one of the lovely benefits of working with Langford is we have our hand on, you know, the pulse of everything that's available going on, and we can be aware. At first, we thought it might be like, well, at the end of the resiliency plan, we'll have a grant report. But no, we're seeing that some people need it sooner rather than later. It's an opening application, let's do it. And it may not be our department, but we are looking for things for you to help with the resiliency strategies that we come up with. So what is your biggest concern regarding Martindale's long-term water supply and drought preparedness?
well, see, the water supply is a separate, it's a private business
Mhm.
and,
Only 40 feet deep.
pardon me,
It's only 40 feet deep.
the wells, well, they're getting their water from several sources.
Well, they got surface water too.
The price of the water, I don't know if you guys looked,
Oh, yeah.
the price of the water, I use the same amount of gallons. The price of the water has gone up almost, the water per gallon has gone up over 45, 50% on top of the $25 monthly hickey that they did last year. Because I use the same amount of gallons, my bill was, I do the math. I actually have a spreadsheet that breaks it down, how much I'm paying per gallon. And they keep raising it every month. It's gone up since the beginning of last year. It's gone up almost 50% since last year.
Typical water bill.
Well, mine is, I have 4,600 gallons and it was $101.
About the same.
So, but
Mine was 90 at 2,100.
yeah, 2,100 gallons and you're with 90, right?
Yeah,
So the minus the fees is probably about $88, minus 75, which is the original. So 13, so you take 20, yeah, take the 13 divided by 2,100 gallons.
But as the mayor said, it's really a separate entity
Mhm.
It's 0.6.
of the city. The only, and this, I made my way ahead of myself. What we do is our treatment plant.
Mhm.
And that is where we really need help. And I'll be honest with you, I'm a river guy, and this is so important to have a regional plant developed here. Because, as I said, everybody gets tired of hearing me say this, we're not Pflugerville, we're Martindale. We have this beautiful spring-fed river, we need to take care of it, that's why I ran for office. We need to do a regional plan, and I'll be honest with you, I've been reaching out to Ed Thurio. I'm trying to get a meeting with LCRA, with that peaker plant. You know, I want to do a zero discharge, and then have that recycled water go to that peaker plant instead of wasting our precious potable water. We use recycled sewage to do that, and that's what we need to really look long term. So that, to me, I don't know how you council feels, but to me, that's number one priority, that treatment plant, because if we have that regional plant, then we can entice
You can
developers.
enclose your system.
Yeah, the developers also can come in and we can say, hey, we got a treatment plant. Let's do the right thing environmentally, and it also would help us see to attract.
You don't have impact.
But we don't, our plant's so small. It's not
we
really,
do not have impact.
we do not have it, but it's so small that,
As the march from the west continues.
but we don't have the capacity. We
They want
don't,
them paying for this.
what, 200, we got 200 homes more capacity.
Yeah.
So we don't have anything to speak of.
But we did get a grant here this year that $500,000 from the Sid Miller, the agricultural department, to expand our plant a little bit and to repair really old equipment.
The plant's old.
plan, so we need a regional plan.
It's a lagoon system.
Yeah,
And Tim will share more with you when we get to his analysis of current existing plans and some of the other communities and what they're doing. So hang on and we'll get back to it, but I do appreciate number one, treatment plan. I put that there for water
Yeah.
supply. And then drought preparedness is a separate issue, I understand.
it's kind of really intermingled, because if we
Yeah.
recycle our water, we can use that water for landscaping purposes, golf courses, power
Exactly.
plants. We don't have to use that precious water source for something like landscaping.
So it becomes part of the preparedness.
And recharging non-potable water.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we'll share some ideas with you. I think you'll be impressed with what Tim's put together. Do you feel Martindale's digital networks and infrastructure are currently secure against cyber threats? Yes or no?
No idea.
Sure.
I can speak to that a little bit. If it
There he
matters.
is.
We just saw-
I can't speak to
Oh.
that.
I've been here I've been listening to the conversation. So yes, and maybe. Our IT guys have a pretty robust IT infrastructure set up for us. But what worries me internally is, we have our emails on Microsoft. Microsoft is subject to have several cyber attacks. So there's some openings there. We do have a private cloud network, so that's managed internally. So we don't share our cloud data with
Got it.
any other
Now-
entity.
Are you also talking about the
Um,
county?
That's-
Well, everyone's, the weakest link is the link to all of our nationals.
Because the county also is doing a lot as far as broadband
Mhm.
to
Yeah,
try and
the ARP.
strengthen, the system. And they're putting up more towers and everything. And the library has a pretty secure system. And like Adrian was saying, we just switched providers so that we can use Microsoft products. And that, of course, is open to maybe
Yeah,
attacks.
The state has initiated new local grants for cybersecurity assessments, exercises, and monitoring. And the reason they're doing it for free is they're trying to get all of our systems in a national database so that they can analyze trends and try to be predictive and trying to intercede these hackers instead of always on the defense getting hacked and then acting. What they're trying to do is create an offensive cybersecurity that is meant to help with resiliency on local networks and communications and what you're describing.
And then, of course, you have to have education about phishing so that you don't internally have somebody just give away information.
We've had that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of crazy stuff. And in my experience, it's nothing we predicted, something comes out of the blue. But Tim's got a very strong background in cybersecurity as well. So like, again, another one of the benefits of looking at the plan through the lens of resiliency also includes looking at cyber protection.
Yeah, that's
and that
actually
kind of-
what we call it, cyber resilience.
So if I might,
Yeah, Adrian, go ahead.
I might add that it's worth having the study done for our city. It's never been done before. And it's been something that hasn't really been considered or thought about too deeply until in the past maybe 5 to 7 years. That what our IT infrastructure looks like. So there might be some weaknesses with some of our vendors. We don't know if they've experienced any notable cyber
The number
attacks.
one problem is third party on your network.
Exactly. So
Dave,
if anything, I would push for getting the study done.
Thanks, Adrian. I made a note of that, and we might have some resources for that as well. So,
Yeah, I've got a topic paper for local governments. We'll send it out as part of our, we're continuing education that we're gonna do for you guys throughout this process. Where, if we find an issue that impacts our clients, we'll write up a one-page topic paper and send it out to you guys. Alert you about grants like Jerry was talking about.
Okay.
Those cyber grants are, you don't even have to get one of those grants. The CISA is the Cybersecurity National Agency that's with FEMA under Homeland Security. They have a team in San Antonio who are there to do local assessments. And it's meant to be a non-technical approach so that the leadership can understand what's going on. It's not like behind the black vault and, just.
The clicking away. Yeah, and it is becoming more and more prominent in every area in our lives is that threat. So we want to help you be as prepared as possible. So let's go on to what are the 3 most important issues or areas you would like the city to prioritize improving over the next few years?
I know what Mike wants.
Okay.
Yeah, Mike wants a wastewater plant.
Wastewater plant. Okay, water treatment plant. Okay, we'll put that. Anybody else?
Parks.
Okay, parks. Tell me more about parks. What are you thinking?
Well, right now even, we're developing some FEMA buyout lands. We've been developing them into just a park system. And so one of our local community members here have brought us the idea of having a mini pitch soccer system. And we've got a lot of land, but it's in the floodway. So finding a piece of property that can be used and level, and we have done that. So we're going to be talking about that later tonight even. But we're really getting excited about creating walking trails and dog parks and stuff that, if they get washed out, it won't take that much to
It won't be
create
crazy
it.
detrimental.
Yeah.
Okay, I made note of that. And there are parks and recreation grants. And they're small and large parks depending. I think we've missed the submission for this year. But to plan through this, to be ready for next year is certainly a goal that we can put into place.
The Texas Park and Wildlife one is August.
August 1st. And
But
so
you
one
had
of
to
the,
have everything in by June.
Really?
Something I'm pretty sure we did for Schulenburg. There may be additional deadlines. Let me check on it and I'll let you know.
Okay.
We had to have do you have a master plan?
Yes.
A parks master plan, you do?
We worked on one, Adrian did, actually.
Well, the master plan, the 1997 master plan does address park development. And I believe, frankly, that's how we got Alan Bates and some of these other parks and buyouts. That same master plan identified these flood risk areas. I'm almost certain that's how we made the argument to make our current parkland to FEMA and those homeowners. Now it would be incredible to have a second opinion on now the current state of the flood maps, now that we know more. And other points of weaknesses in the area, so we can present that to future funding.
Gotcha. And we will definitely let you know about that right away because I think with Schulenburg, they're doing large parks, so it's 750,000 or more to renovate their current park by June 1st. I think it was, we had to have their master plan and a preliminary application turned in for the August deadline.
Within 5 years of the grant.
I'm not sure of those details, but I'll check and let you all know if we can rush it through. If it were at that point, we would certainly try to help you. If not, it'll be ready for next year for sure, and you'll have a more clear picture. And Adrian will look at that parks master plan. Do we have that in our?
I didn't find that one.
We'll have to look and see where.
Well,
let me just add to the mayor point. I don't want to put down Schulenburg, but they can't compete with us in Martindale. Because we're 10 miles ahead of where the beautiful San Marcos River, spring fed, 75-degree temperature year around. We have a jewel.
He's ahead of a tourism.
Yeah, we have a jewel here.
Okay, I'm with you.
And I mean,
100%. You're totally different.
We are totally different. Only one that comes close is San Marcos and New Braunfels. I'll leave it at that.
And I love them both and Wimberley as well. They
Well,
all
we have
haven't
Wimberley
been into
beat,
that.
because our river still flows, fortunately, that's the problem.
Okay, I'm all in. We're gonna do Martindale, award-winning, complete plan that will knock them all out.
Because we got we got in our backyard.
I know. you
Yeah, and it's no,
love Martindale.
you know, our planning process is agile by design, that we need to do a focus area now.
Well,
We can be doing that and still working on the rest of the plan document. So that's what we did with Sheila. We were finishing a comp plan.
Mhm.
Then we had to take the section about parks out and turn it into a master plan.
Exactly, that's why I was
But we
asking.
kept it in the comp plan as a chapter, but it worked as a master plan for.
Which,
grants.
which allowed us to do studies and, you know, mark out the areas and look at the deterioration of their old parks. So really, that was my point, is that with this resiliency, we can look at parks and then move it into funding to help with your parks, trails, ADA transition plans. Some of the communities are looking at sidewalks and stuff so people can ride bikes and go places and do things, and trails. So we're all in.
Yeah,
Okay, number 3, we got 2. We got a treatment plan, parks and recreation,
and roads.
roads.
that was my campaign, slogan back in 18.
You
Parks
did
and-
good. I see it worked for
That's
you.
what the county commissioners ran for us, because they wanted to allocate for the road system, but now it's so run by the state. Counties don't
And the
have.
state, part of the problem, they keep taking money from everybody, but I won't get in that subject.
You can't solve everything. The magic wand did not come in yet.
No,
Go ahead, Tiffany, what were you gonna say?
Just one thing that I was thinking about, it might not, object like not being as great, but something that we are really concerned about is being able to help our citizens that are currently in maybe, in the floodway, is that flood, or that flood easily? Is that what you're-
yeah, floodway.
Relocation or enlisting or?
Infrastructure being in maybe poor conditions, things like that, so.
We have a slew of properties that have flooded before over here that, and they're not even taking insurance money, they're just rebuilding because they, you know, the burden to then bring it up to standard is, the bar is too high.
Mhm.
I think that's what Dorothy's talking about.
And that's, I think it's a problem. I don't know if it's.
But we don't want them to be gone because the problem, the flip side is there's a buyout,
Yeah.
but then they move.
Yeah.
You know, and we don't want them to leave, you know, I mean, we don't want them to leave. We want them to stay. They've been here for generations. It's like, how do we keep them there, but still provide a pathway for them not to encounter that problem?
Gotcha. So
So,
assistance with the flood, the drainage
I mean,
areas.
Yeah.
I mean, Dorothy and I, I've looked at barrier systems, to do barrier systems to actually protect zones. And we did it for our house because we have never flooded, but, you know, so I mean, I've done research on that. I mean, there's other ways to do it, but I just don't want these people to flood again and then
These are homes.
lose their homes. And
Okay.
that's how we've acquired quite a bit of our parkland, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah.
But those were the really bad areas. These are people it hasn't been flooding, I mean, there's water, but it's not like it's, these other areas, it's rushed. You know what I mean? I mean, these houses went down the river, you know?
Is there
And what we
land?
got so far, I don't think had the number of homes on it. That we're looking at.
Yeah.
Is there land and or vacant homes for sale and or available for those people, or is it pretty much?
No, there's nothing.
No,
That's,
there's no.
now, when I was at GLO, we ran a program called HOP, which was selling, you know, it was the FEMA buyout program. But the idea was there was a affordable housing unit somewhere in the city that could, like, you know, cop to from the flood.
Because they own this property, right? They're homeowners and landowners.
So they sell that and then they can invest in new property.
Well, that would be
With-
really
with
intriguing.
That would be very, very good.
That would be really,
Joe?
Well, I just want to piggyback that because like the other thing that I was going to bring up was new development control.
Mhm.
Because we do have a lot of it, you know, it's coming. And I mean, I'm just Dorothy, I don't know a lot.
Come on, give
But
yourself more credit than that.
it concerns me, it concerns me. I don't want Martindale to look like,
Right.
The outskirts of Austin.
the outskirts of Austin. I don't want, people living on a 1/6 of an acre with, I mean, I want affordable housing,
Yes.
but I want something that is gonna, the property is gonna increase. I want them to, have an investment.
Yes.
I want, so I just don't want, I mean, obviously, everybody wants, affordable housing. I mean, I do too, but it's like, I don't want something just thrown up. I'm not gonna say anybody's, any developers' names or anything or homes or
Yeah, we
anything.
understand.
But I want, I want
Rack 'em,
quality.
stack 'em is what I call it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, as a community, people that are coming in, we want them to stay. And we want them to be part of the community, not just a place to live that's easy to get to San Marcos or easy to get to.
This place.
Just that,
keep this place.
yeah, so,
Keep the integrity of the town.
Right.
And the small town look and feel. It's a delicate balance between attracting growth, affordable homes that people can come to, but my experience, and I think Tim will second this, a plan for growth helps you to manage all that versus not a real clear plan is no plan at all. I mean,
Right.
it's like people don't know, but if you have a very clear picture, here's where we want to grow. We don't want to grow here. This is the floodplain. We're gonna people go, oh, I get it. Let's do that. And it makes sense, more of a, not necessarily controlled, but directed growth plan. So that's what we hope, and you'll see when Tim gives you a presentation of some ideas
thank you for letting.
and some of his experience in that area. Because affordable, a sustainable home is homes on the top of most communities' list. They want to grow, but not too much. They want nice houses, but not too expensive. They want it, so it's how do you manage
Those are
that?
good questions.
Some don't wanna grow that.
No matter what, they don't
Just
want
wanna
one new
invest.
person in
Well, you know
town.
what, you're in Central Texas,
I don't know how
Yeah.
you keep it.
you can't.
It's like I got
Well,
mine, I don't want to stop eating fruit.
Right, or
Right.
we've had this land for generations and we're not budging and we don't care and we're not gonna participate. And so we're like, okay, we'll go around you.
Yeah.
But in a managed way and controlled. I hate that word just controlled, but
Yeah.
directed way.
Guided.
Guided, that's the word I like. Okay, I'm gonna, guided growth. Yeah,
You'll see in the comprehensive plan, us planners have those meaty mouth words.
peaceful.
We won't say restrict, we'll say encourage. And so,
Mhm.
but when we get to your zoning ordinance and regulations, then you talk like a bulldog, but in the
It really
plan,
is
you need
fun.
to be feeling
But
like.
you know what, our little town, really, we do have, for example, we have half acre minimum size, which is brilliant.
Yes.
So that keeps it small, like you said, Dorothy, keeps it small. I think what you're concerned about is the ETJ, and that's something that we very.
Well, that's our biggest thing. You're at, we're making a plan, we have no power.
Yeah. that's
They,
what-
all
that's
the
how
two new
it's-
subdivisions that are gonna be developed have already de-annexed because of that silly law.
Yeah.
So now they're coming back, well, now if you really want, now we've lost all power. We have no bargaining chip. We need a sewer
That
plant.
gets back to the sewer. that gets
Yeah, we
back
need
to
a sewer
plant.
plant to give them,
Utility extension.
Exactly.
Yes.
and they want it, and they want us to have one too. It's just a matter of negotiating the methodology to do it. So far, they have one plat, they only have one path that they know how to do. They've done it repeatedly, and it doesn't help us when they do it this way.
They always work on the outskirts of the
Yeah.
urban area.
And they end up, potentially polluting our precious river, and that's when I put the war paint on, to be honest with you. But, okay, I'm sorry, we're all.
No, that's what this is for. It gets us
Sorry,
on
Terry,
the
you're not
same
on Zoom
page. We
this time.
start talking about things,
Can't
and
go
I
grab a
think
beer.
you'll see more in the presentation that we researched a lot of this stuff. How would you rate the quality of city services like police, fire, park, street, et cetera, on a scale of 1 to 5?
Probably-
Five for
Yeah,
police.
Yeah,
five
police is
for
high.
police, 5 for fire,
For fire.
parks 3.
Oh, you know what?
Three,
I think
it's mine.
4, maybe. I think 4, I get parts of 4.
Parks
Okay.
and Board, do you have the parks?
Oh, yeah, yeah, it's nice parks, they're good parks too.
We've given the Army community. I'm trying to
We just
think.
need more of it.
Confused on what you're.
We just need more of it.
Walk down that way.
Mhm.
And walking upstream and downstream.
But yeah, our engineer grew up swimming in
Oh, yeah,
the
Dennis.
swimming hall right here.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you
Good said,
can-
He'll be back with the next meeting.
Because we charge for parking $10.
There's a lot of little things that add up when you start putting the natural attraction of the town and combine it with a way to generate money to pay for things.
Right.
Okay, good. So how do you feel?
Streets would be one.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got one circle on that already.
Okay, thank you.
How do you feel do you feel Martindale has sufficient retail, dining, and entertainment options to meet residents' needs?
Not really.
No.
It's getting there.
You know, one of the things is we're proud of duets, but it doesn't really serve the local
That's a
community.
very good, that's a very
Yeah,
good.
really,
We have a lot of,
expensive. Is it for
working.
visitors going to the
it's more
park?
for
Kind of
visitors.
like Green Hall or something.
A little
Yeah,
bit like that, yeah. It attracts a lot of people.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's a beautiful building.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, we sat in there and had
He
it.
did.
He had a ginger beer. and
Because I couldn't have a drink. I was like, I can't drink. We're a business, but I love the ginger beer. And-
Place like
He would
this,
turn you in.
this place looks like it would make old fashioned, great old.
yeah.
So what is here? I mean, what's?
Well, they're gonna be opening and they had a little sandwich shop. They're expanding. They've got more room where the grocery store used to be. And so they're gonna have a more expanded menu. We have Red Barn Bakery up on the highway.
Mhm.
We have Hermano's Mexican restaurant. And it's right on the edge of town going towards San Marcos. For us, everything's closed on Monday.
Yeah, that's coming too. Are a lot of these buildings empty though?
Yes.
In the downtown area, and the silos are empty?
Well, Carlton Carl, and I noticed that he was starting to do something in that side of the building. It doesn't have AC. So these buildings were real old
Yeah.
and so he's
He
renovated
lives right behind
them.
his building. He lives right there.
Yeah, he lives right
He don't,
behind
he
it.
don't close to downtown.
Well, these few buildings.
Well, I mean, he does. I mean, give him
Yeah.
credit. We gotta give him credit. He owns that
Yeah,
building.
building.
He owns the building next door.
Granary and the.
They
side.
kept the silos.
Yeah, and they're to, storage.
Oh, they are
Right.
storage.
Yeah.
Is he involved in the community?
Yeah,
Yes.
very much.
Good.
He's on the historic commission and
So what would you put ideally in the town if you could just pick anything you wanted? What do you think the residents would?
I would love to have something more. We do have a dollar store too,
Yeah, that
out
would
on the
help.
highway, and that helps a lot.
Love the dollars.
But in the downtown area, like we have a secondhand store, but it's extremely expensive and their hours are very unpredictable.
Okay.
It'd be nice to have like a dime store or something where you just go in and
An affordable convenience store.
affordable downtown where you could,
I don't know if this, here you go, you know me, goes back to the parks. I would love to have like music in the park. Like at San Marcos, have music in the park, have a little pavilion or something that we could do, music thing.
Well, they did music at the
Well, I mean, more of that, like San Marcos.
festival.
Well, you know, you've been to San Marcos Museum, it's on Thursday. It's all free. They have a stage set up, that's by the river.
Do they have vendors?
Okay.
Yeah, what about food trucks?
Yeah.
yeah, we have a few around. We have like a young man who does shaved ice or
Yeah.
something
Yeah,
like
there's-
that.
If with notification and if we have regular things, I think that, there is a demand and
Very popular right now.
yeah, very popular, and I think that, vendors do want to come when we have events.
Mhm.
I think we're pretty good at getting vendors, and I mean, these are, mom and pop, moms.
Yeah.
With.
Timing
We
is
were
everything.
doing market days every other,
Yeah.
twice a month,
Okay.
every
See,
other,
there's
every
a
other
place.
Saturday. And then I don't think we should be doing it in the summer anyway. It was so freaking hot at the time, but we were doing that and that's kind of disappeared because Sonia stopped taking care of that. One of the councilwomen was really doing, spearheading that. So
Yeah.
that's been over for almost a year now, I want to say.
It's very downtown, it would be, and maybe the cafe will kind of feel that because it's like you're walking down here and also, I can really get soda right now. And I remember having a cafe, and so I think when they open up, hopefully, they have that kind of, maybe they'll.
They're more to the locals. The
Yeah,
duets,
definitely.
duets is charging to come in for a lot of the concert events. So there's a cover charge. So they're going a little different than I'm not gonna pay $20 every Saturday to go and,
Yeah.
to go get a beer, I'm not.
So maybe like a vintage 5 and dime convenience and some restaurant options that are affordable.
Laundry
sandwiches and
store, a laundromat,
Laundromat.
car wash. Yeah, a long time ago, they had hairdressers. I mean, things that you would go to. It would be nice to have a grocery store.
Just even
I
like a
would
little.
love to have, hey, this is Laura.
Hey, Laura.
Hi, Laura.
Hey, there. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
I would love a grocery store, and I think that's the most common thing that I've heard people say from the community is even just a small, like Trader Joe's or something that's a small grocery store would be great. But then other ideas that I've thought a lot about would be like an Ace Hardware shop. That would be a small hardware shop because Lowe's is pretty far. And then an ice cream shop because of all the people that go to the river to play.
Yep.
And then a third one that would be really fun. Maybe, I mean, I'm not in charge of this, but Carlton has that really big room across the hall in that building. That would be fantastic. In my humble opinion only, to do like a low rate, like whatever you call, like a low cost, movie thing where they do, like, whatever, really cheap movies that are like sing-alongs, like Dancing in the Rain or Grease, or some of the fun ones for summer that kids would watch. So, that would be another really good idea that I think if it was low cost, because they're like not new release movies, people would come to. That's all.
We're looking to do something similar like that, but that usually is done over there in the library.
With the library. The library does a
that.
lot of that.
So more like a commercial slanted movie fun room or fun center or something like that.
Yeah.
Right
Okay,
now,
those are great ideas. And I love that.
Also, auto repair.
Auto repair in the
A lot of
town
people-
and,
a lot
yeah.
of people do that.
I guess I was only thinking about the movies being, I know the library does it and it's wonderful. But I went to the movies in San Marcos at the EVO thing, and they were advertising something similar. And I was thinking an indoor location and a location that does it routinely, like as a business, rather than just as an every once in a while.
Maybe like a little event center or something like that.
Maybe, yeah. So that's all.
Great, thank you for that input. For the sake of time, we need to move on. We got 3 more, then we gotta get Tim up here.
Okay.
What he has. So what is your perception of the job being done to attract new businesses and grow the local economy?
Oh, tonight we're voting on, so 3 of the local businessmen are forming a group. It's called Visit Martindale.
I love it.
And they're, what do they call that? They're getting all of the logos and stuff.
Chamber of
They're
Commerce.
marketing and,
Branding.
and so they're gonna take over the hotel motel tax to try and get people to come and stuff like that. So that's one of the things.
But again, got that beautiful San Marcos River and they come because of the hot weather. We have a natural resource that everybody needs in Texas.
So you start charging admission at the entrance and they can't get in after a certain number and you cut it off.
No, we don't have that. We don't have that. No, we just charge for the car. I'm just saying, as you said, we have the chamber. This is a very unique town because it's unchanged.
Yeah.
We don't have the buildings, thanks for Marty and Carlton and Bill Hamilton and David Long and all them. They saved the buildings
Yeah.
from being torn down. So this is kind of a unique area.
Oh, it's lovely.
It's like, it's the same as it was in 1920.
Mhm.
So that's what really keeps it really cool. It's old,
And
it's
vintage
historic,
is cool.
and it's on the beautiful sand. I mean, of course, I'm a Martindale fan. We blow Green away. I mean, really, we did. Green's bigger, they got the dance hall, but they got a parking lot on the other side of
Oh,
the
yeah.
river.
Mhm.
We've got a natural, this is just gorgeous. So that in itself attracts people to come here. So we need to, as a city, we have them here. And then how do we keep them here to spend money to help our economy?
And have places to spend money. You know,
Exactly,
that's the other
exactly.
piece of it. Good. So would you say the job on a scale of 1 to 5 is about a 3.5 to 4?
Yeah.
Okay, last question. Oh, no, next to last. How important, and I already know the answer, how important is preserving Martindale's small town character as the city grows? 5?
Yeah. Probably.
I would say 5.
Everybody that comes here finds it really, really charming and want to live here.
People criticize me for talking too much, and I'll say one more thing. Okay, we had a developer come in, and it was very contentious, and they wanted to put a truck stop in. Of course, our zoning did not allow that, thank goodness.
Mhm.
But the woman was very bright, and she came in, she says, you know, what happens if we put a little strip center? And she said, why don't we make it look like brick, like red brick?
Yeah.
Just like Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Yeah.
You know, how cool that be to have the surrounding areas look like downtown with red brick, tin roofs, that type of thing.
You have to have Tim expand on the silos in Hutto.
I'm saying, see, you ever been to Santa Fe, New Mexico? Santa Fe is so cool because they have the ordinances to make it look like Adobe structure.
Everything, we talked
Gas
about it on
stations.
the way here, that
Gas stations,
everything
that
has
type of
to
thing.
look
And we're-
like the Adobe.
And we're kind
Mountains.
of like that. We're in that stage. It could happen. I mean, we could make it this way and it would be absolutely cool. What we don't want is a bunch of metal buildings put up.
Mishmash, yeah.
Mishmash, a Taco Bell, a McDonald's. I mean, they could do a McDonald's, but make it look like a red brick.
That's
Building.
exactly what they did in Hutto. It's
And
beautiful.
it's
That's
a,
how we kickstarted our redevelopment of our silos was Texaco came in and they built the architectural requirements were to have silo tops on both ends of the structure.
Oh, cool.
Have y'all seen
And,
this?
and it became a cool little coffee shop where, you know, city business got talked about, so it became the place to hang out. And that group were the ones that were the impetus to redo the whole silo area.
So again, guided growth, guided design,
Getting
guided
those
branding
guys.
that fits all that same look and feel is gonna benefit you way more than just haphazardly or anybody that comes in with $1, you're like, okay, come, you know, do whatever you want. So this will be a very good plan for you all to help guide that. We've already talked about the critical infrastructure, so I'm gonna turn it over to Tim, so he has enough time to go through with you the studies and what he's been doing. You will go ahead one more on the slide, please. Just one more up, and we've already kind of gone through the agenda. That's what we're doing today. And I'll turn it over to Tim. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see, do I have my stuff? I got my notes right here.
Thank you.
thank you.
And at the very end of the meeting, I'm gonna have you scan the QR code for the community survey. And we're gonna look at what they'll be seeing and we'll, based on our notes, tweak it a little to get feedback from the community.
Right, so y'all too.
Can I make a before you start? I'd almost like a survey of guests that are coming to Martindale, the visitors. Because you were talking about what do the visitors want that we don't offer now?
We could do that. We could have a QR code with a little, Facebook posting and or like a little business card size that has the QR code.
We put it at the parks.
Put it at the parks, put it in the restaurant, places
Really good.
around.
Oh,
And it
that
would
would
be
be
strictly
good.
for guests, although some people might just take it, but it would get some good feedback, especially with your Visit Martindale campaign.
Yeah, I wish they were here.
Seen him out there, but he never came.
I did too.
You ready?
A couple of slides.
Up to here, maybe?
The one above that.
Perfect.
There we go. Okay, this is just to remind you what the aims of this is all about. But HUD decided to fund something it typically doesn't fund, which is like hazard mitigation. That's been a FEMA thing forever. So the reason is HUD saw the opportunity to integrate plans that are important to communities, but they're done at different times. So you have a different generation plan that's not interacting with a brand new comp plan or brand new parks plan. And the idea is to get all those mashed together, which you keep mashing because you keep finding out there's another plan.
Our strategy.
So we
or
didn't have,
study.
yeah. But that's okay, as we go, that's what's cool about our processes. You know, as we go, we can integrate anything that happens. Y'all pass a resolution, we'll integrate. It's, you know, it's like an ongoing conversation more than us, you know, going and hiding and then bringing you a 50% plan. Giving you a month to review it, get it back. And we go and hide again, and every now and then someone comes out of the hole to say, hey, we're still working on it. We want this to be engaged from here on, that, because for us, we're kicking off the actual plan production for it. And I've got lots of material already that we have the structure of the plan set up as well. And what you'll see is that these things we talked about feed each of those sections of the plan. So in essence, what we've got is GLO is administering CDBG funding or to local entities using FEMA guidelines. So we got both beasts involved with these things. We got to please both of them. And we can, I think if we go with we've adopted FEMA's guidelines on how to structure and assess your plan and what categories ought to be in your plan. We'll talk about that when we talk about the goals. And then it's also, you want to minimize the impact on both natural and human-made hazards. So no one likes that word cyber. Hopefully it'll go away. And things that deal with your information management just become second nature. Like so many things in our lives have been like, where it was its own kind of little place, but then it just became part of all of our lifestyle. And cyber, to be effective, is going to have to be that way. And it's got to reach out to the individual. It's got to look at systems and securing systems, both physically and with information security. So that's all also rolled up in the aims of the Resilient Community Program. Next slide. There's the difference, the county's been, typically, Texas counties are doing the hazard mitigation plan every 5 years. So what is happening, hazard mitigation plans getting written while we're writing a resiliency. What's the difference? Well, the difference is this slide. Is that a hazard mitigation plan's focused on the specific hazard. They're name by name, floods, tornadoes, wildfires. And from that risk assessment, risk strategies and actions, it becomes an action for the community, which could cover any and all aspects of the community and how but it's still kind of a tactical plan on how do we prevent hazards to, it's preventive. You're trying to protect your community from a hazardous impact. Resiliency is adaptability. How do you get kicked and knocked down, but bounce back up as a community? And you may not be the same, you may not be using the same systems. Because you did a resiliency plan, you've recognized that we need another, like you were talking about, broadband. We need an information backbone that we can rely on when the first backbone gets knocked out, however it gets knocked out, flooded or by sabotagers. So kind of that's the scheme here, is that you're thinking holistically about, okay, this app is more like chess. And not to put a hazard mitigation plan down. I love checkers, but checkers are a specific movement, where chess is 5 movements ahead. If you're a good one, I'm not. My son's. So I watch them. And then that's the targeted versus comprehensive measures. Where the comprehensive measures are that you've brought all these different plans together and you're cross connecting these different actions and these different policies, these strategies that have been worked on by you guys. Over the years, you've really built up a whole catalog of plans, special specific plans for a park, and then also now you talk about a park system and natural preserves, trails to connect them. How does that roll into economic development? That's holistic thinking. That's how do we make our economy adaptable to what our strengths are? Well, we need to invest in what our strengths are, and what can, and in your case, tourism seems to be the strongest element of your economy growth. Yeah, you may not want to grow by having neighborhoods built on the edge and you annex and push your pipes out and keep pushing, or houses get stacked up. Yeah, it grows your tax base, but also very costly on your utility systems. That's the kind of thinking we're talking about. Not so much prevention, but adaptation. Next slide, please. This kind of what that looks like. What a community that has a healthy resilience framework has looked at these 4 categories and addressed each of these functions within them. With responsible governance, you guys have done that. I mean, you wrote a plan in 2020, the strategic. That really does address that part of a healthy environment for our community. So there's a good starting point that we have. Quality of life, y'all. That's the essence of what you guys talk about, think about, and try to make policies about. How do we make both the life for residents here high quality, but also our visitors? Then the economy, get on that, and then the prepared system, and that's where your hazard mitigation planning plugs in. Is that it's for preparation, and that way we're meeting the goal of why FEMA is giving you $300K to write a resiliency plan, because that's what they want to see. And it hadn't happened enough. I can tell you in 30 years of urban planning that stovepipes always existed when you're trying to do so-called comprehensive. So what I've done is, gone ahead and do it. What we want to do is, like we just talked about, a start point. So a start point also is, who are you today? What do you look like? And how does the world see Martindale through the eyes of statisticians, and federal government agencies, et cetera? So these key elements are what your population is. 2020 is 1253. However, recent estimates have you at 1,311 living in 2.1 acres of your incorporated city limits. And it gives you a density of 635 people per square mile. I think about that.
You're saying our entire city is 2.1 acres.
Miles, sorry, square miles.
Yeah.
Good catch.
Yeah.
Square miles.
Square miles.
Okay.
I was too busy putting a little cute boundary around the box.
I see that on the block.
I didn't quality check it. Thank you very much. I won't go anywhere from here.
So that's a pretty low density. And
No, it's still, no, actually, pretty high density, yeah. I can show you on the housing. map.
Yeah.
I'll compare, most recently, we did the same presentation with Waverly. They were like 325%.
oh, they got lucky to have 5 acre, 10 acre tracts. That's why. Okay.
And
But they had
The
concentrated
chickens.
population spots as well. So what we've done is,
What about like downtown Austin or downtown or say San Antonio or
oh, that is 1,000 per square
New York.
mile. Since that slide sucks, let's move to the next one. And this is what you guys want to talk about, so let's move it along. This is from 911 addressing, so it's the most up to date. And these are all your residences. Each of those are a housing unit. Could not just owner occupied, but also rental. And you can see your concentrations where you have the, I used this line in Wimberley, but don't think y'all are like the younger kids in Wimberley get the hand-me-downs. Gotta keep talking about that. But they had this same kind of situation where you had the old downtown area and then a newer area where you're kind of like that. You've got to tell the two cities going on with your two population,
yeah,
two areas with the connecting stream connecting you. So to me, I'm looking at gaps for development. I'm hearing about a great initiative. I love replicating existing architecture
Very cool.
anywhere. But I also noticed when I've driven around here, you have kind of a unique highway frontage set up buildings, old buildings. So maybe not build your town square look on there, but go with that old kind of Route 66, kind of how they've done along that route, where it's that highway kind of development, 1930 style to match up with
Still vintage.
that vintage, but a different experience in your two different commercial areas, your two intersections is what it's about. That's just a way to think and talk about it. Not a recommendation yet. But interesting, your median property values are 264,000.
I thought it'd been higher than that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I see that subdivision to the northwest, 80. I don't know what are those houses selling for?
I just know the latest sales have been to the roof.
I mean, they've been on the river and stuff like that.
Well, look at the one, that, Sam purchased.
That was barely over that price.
yeah, it was 307,000.
something.
Yeah. So that's in the ballpark.
Okay, what do you think?
It's not a big house, it's just,
All right, I got that one right.
but still.
I guess it all averages out.
The other thing, 72% home ownership, that's amazing.
That's pretty high.
Especially as you think, we talked about being on the outskirts of the urban area. Then you're worrying about, properties going to rent. Nothing's wrong with that. I'm not judging. But when you have a higher percentage of rental properties, it's a higher percentage of people that may not be invested in your community.
Or
Right.
Airbnb. That's really coming up.
Yeah.
Airbnb
Yeah.
are really getting
Not so
very
much the
popular.
rentals, but it's. the
Airbnbs are probably, that a lot of people are investing, buying properties and making Airbnbs out of it.
That's good. You got an owner who's investing in the community.
Well, it depends on the owner.
Maybe that owner takes on a larger civic role, like the 4 or 5 people you named earlier.
But I'm going through that right now. I have a neighbor that he went to an Airbnb, it's a party house. So that's not good for me. But
Yeah.
That's not in Martindale either.
It's in the falls, it's, yeah,
Yeah.
outside the city limits. Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I think is, I'm sorry, I'm gonna check this out, but I think it's interesting when I go on Provo or whatever, is that the Airbnbs, which normally, were downtown on the river, are slowly, getting a little bit further from the river. And not just here, but I mean, like, in neighborhoods, I don't know who lives in the neighborhood, but not as close to downtown as I would expect it. So, and they're just because you can get in the car and drive, 5 minutes. So I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, it's become a short-term housing solution versus a vacation home.
Yeah, we have an intern that's working for the summer from Bryan College Station, staying in Liberty Hill in an Airbnb, sharing a room with some people, so, or house with some people. So there's other ways
Short-
that it,
Short-term.
for the summer, for
So
6
go back
weeks.
to 8 AM in August. None, we, both of us offered to help him out. And he was here about 4 days and he was set up. About 10 minutes away. Good for us. We get to work with him as much as we can. He's
Yeah.
a very good hand. Jakes knows this stuff. Really good. Anyway, so we're talking about 466 households. This whole what household versus housing unit. A household has broader definitions than it used to, but it's covered up by. But it includes any standard nuclear family to a couple, any kind of. It's almost like I think when the census is taken, it's like you kind of declare yourself a household. Now, I didn't get surveyed when the last census was done, so I don't know what they're asking now, but somehow through that survey, that's how they're getting this idea. Okay, this is what households can be defined. But either way, you've got 66% of the communities are households, again, family units that probably feel invested in Martindale. Then the poverty is 9% below the poverty rate. That's probably understandable. You have people that are.
I'm surprised
wandering
it's that
through,
low,
working. Yeah,
actually.
well, yeah, and probably a lot of the visual poverty that you might see, that didn't get caught in the census.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
the presence may be a lot more, but as far as your lockdown community goes, it's only 9%, but you have people, temporaries, workers coming through or whatever that actually make the visual every day.
You know, this area here, that's a rectangle on the bottom. Yeah, those are 5-acre tracts with double wide mobile homes. It is actually quite nice out there when you go visit and stuff. It's hard to campaign.
Oh, yeah.
I can see you cry.
But it's really pretty nice, but it's affordable housing. Some of them now, it's against HOA rules, but they're starting to divide their tracts. There's 1 or 2 that are like 7.5-acre tracts, but towards the front now, there's a couple that have divided their tracts into 2 or 3 pieces. Probably, I would think as things get more expensive, they're trying to find ways to keep their head above water and stuff. But it is actually pretty nice. Whereas at the other end, those are higher income people, except for the gray area that's actually the county.
Here,
Those are all mobile homes that they own. They own the land underneath the mobile home. And it's a pretty poor neighborhood. So that probably would have brought our numbers up if you would have had that neighborhood, because there's probably, what, 50 households in there?
Oh, way more than that.
Yeah, maybe more than that. And the roads are almost gone. We're talking to the county commissioners right now about trying to fix those roads.
yeah, that's a tough kind of project. When you're trying to-
And they're not in the
Yeah.
city. You know, they're not, only that front row is in the city.
Oh,
Because it's
yeah.
in the corridor, and then the rest of the community's not. So,
I think that must have came about before the city was actually a city. We've only been a city since 1982. And I think they've been there a little bit longer than that.
Yeah. Just got grandfathered in.
Yeah, so there was nothing to really make them come into the city.
it'd be another reason why we want to improve the wastewater plant, because then we run through this all the way down 80. That would allow, we get a grant, we definitely could get them put on sewer line. There's no way the grant does not help them get it.
Right,
You know what I
that's
mean?
their primary goal and many.
And their LMI, so.
Yeah.
The CDBG grant.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
TDA CDBG. So, yeah, you said that, right? Right, next slide. We can come back to any of these. We've talked about everything. And your employment looks good. That's civilian employees, I brought that term along with it, but that just means non-military. Police count as civilian. It's 448, and the median earnings is about 38,000. The largest part of them work in public administration, then educational services, and then retail trade.
And it doesn't show higher.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, well, where that shows is how many employees. If you're retired, you're not being counted as employees. The
Does
448.
the council member count?
You're unpaid. I mean, underpaid.
Yeah.
We didn't get one.
Zero pay.
That's what this says right here. This little box is-
What is that?
What does that say?
No, it's information.
Oh.
You're silly enough to look.
Yes, I would think that's information, but I think IT would be under this box, not that
Professional.
box.
Which box would that IT be under?
And
Professional.
Scientific and technical.
Okay.
Yeah. and I was
Long as
surprised-
Long as council professional, right? Council professional.
Some of us.
No, that's a point out there.
Oh, of course not, Mike.
Yeah, and then, so obviously, these residents may live in Martindale and work somewhere else, which leads to the commute It's 30 minutes, 32 minutes.
Yep.
That's a little higher than most places.
But that seems, that doesn't surprise me at all.
No, I mean, to
It's a
San
better-
Marcos,
better
to
in town.
South Austin.
Yeah, South Austin, and in San Antonio.
Yeah,
Russia.
if you didn't have 130, it'd probably be a lot longer. So,
Yeah.
so probably, no. And then there's 4% who commute more than 90 minutes a day. So that's probably down into San Antonio, and Austin.
North Austin.
So we're moving on those numbers, by them, that count both ways,
Yes.
32 minutes. But that's
Oh, wait, no,
that's
no.
not 16. yeah.
Each leg.
Oh, each way, yeah.
Yeah, hour and a half, maybe explain that.
Yeah.
I used to live here and go to North Austin.
I did.
I did it for,
that for a while.
a little over a year.
Yeah.
Yep, it was not fun.
Right, next slide. So, all that data and, I mean, just think of everything we've covered here that can roll into resilient growth management. That's what we're all grasping at here, but there's a term for it, there it is. And, you know, it'll include land use, what your existing land use is, future growth that you know about. When we're talking about your existing conditions, not your future. And that's what we're doing with this study. It's meant to show you where you are right now. Not do a future land use yet. We're going to, but we gotta do this. And then, policies and ordinance would include your subdivision ordinance, zoning, special orders like floodplain management, things like that. Next slide. And there you are. So your zoning map and, got highway commercial as the green line, so that's the linear zone, obviously. And then, two types of residential and then a historic downtown. And then commercial out on the northwest side. So there, you have two retail areas now.
Yes.
Yes.
Is that good enough? Well, yeah, are there opportunities in the green that you want to pursue? That's what we're gonna ask you for future land use. Okay, where do you want it? You know, you want strip commercial like you see in other places where it's one building deep and 10 buildings long facing the highway, or, yeah, if it looks like 1930s highway architecture, we do want that. No, we don't want it if it's just tilt wall and metal roofs. Maybe want a little bit just to get some tax base, but I would suggest there'd probably be a thoroughfare plan for that part of your city that we do and help you with and actually try to visualize some of these things for you. And, we're, next week she's coming up. We're getting an architectural intern from UT.
Wow.
She's gonna work for us and help visualize things that, like, what I do in the air, she could actually show you.
Self-inventory.
And we have her for a little time and she's part-time. We, we're looking at special focus projects for her. And, something like what could be done with Silo City here? Is it a negative or is it something that could be a huge positive in the future? Is there a role for it in hazard mitigation? So evacuation or supplies that might be useful on that side. I don't know if it's already been done or not. I'm just kind of throwing out that. But when we start talking about your downtown, what's that done? What are we after there?
Well, it appears to me, I'm sorry, I'm jumping in here.
No, it's a
But
conversation.
the development that, these developers are coming in, obviously houses. But the commercial, if they can put commercial there, they're gonna put commercial there. because it's prime real estate. So what kind of controls and ordinances does the city have?
That's where the zoning ordinance,
And.
Yeah.
Right. I
Review.
mean,
that will be doing.
yeah, having them and then. enforcing them.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, there is just so you remember, there is a corridor there that is not inside the city limits.
Okay.
If you look at the next map,
No,
there's a little sliver there that the city did a trade in
could you go to that slide?
right here. So
Oh, I
there's
think I
a,
see
there's,
it, yeah.
yeah, there's a sliver there off
So
of
it's
80.
Non-contiguous.
Yeah, so that is an ETJ.
And where is it, Matthew? I don't know.
Right in the middle of Sound.
No, right downtown, right.
Where
in
it
the
says
town of
Martindale.
Oh, okay.
You see that right? That's in the commercial corridor.
Yeah, it is. It's-
So just keep that in mind. It's a very unusual situation, I think. So just, we have no control over that.
Right there, okay.
We have no,
It's a deep lot.
What
on the
is
south
there?
side, so-
Well, nothing's there right now. It's farmland, but it was a trade off with the, what is it called? The cotton something,
Oh,
but they've never developed their area that they were going to.
it was a,
So that development plan is
Just
still in play.
Old, like a long time ago?
Probably about 2013. It's been a good 10 years.
But nothing's ever happened.
now they swapped the land rights for tax revenue on the development that expires in 2050 or 2051. They haven't developed it yet. It's all part of the access terminal and stuff.
Walton Group.
That's, yeah, the Walton
very
Group.
interesting.
So that was way before anyone in this room,
Right,
okay?
I got you.
No one in this room would have, when I found that out, I was like,
Huh?
what the bejesus?
How,
Yeah, you can wake up in the middle of the night over this one like I have many times, okay? It doesn't, I don't know how this has ever made sense, but it's a reality of, it's squirrely. It's squirrely. I just leave it at that.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
And
Someone,
we do have
That
some
is only-
control
a
because it's
zoning
in our.
code will be-
it's still, yeah, it is in the ETJ. It is in the ETJ. They have it de-annexed.
Hmm.
They
But-
could.
Oh, okay.
Has anyone communicated with them recently or?
Yeah,
So they still have plans.
yeah,
The Waltons Group they don't actually develop. They just prepare for development.
Yeah.
So they'll flip it before,
They'll run it through, get utilities.
they'll flip it before they break ground is the general, that's pretty much the general consensus.
So,
yeah.
Interesting, okay.
So they're doing all the,
is it Vault Group?
Walton Group. There's a sign right out there.
Walton.
Yeah, they own that whole, there's a huge.
Along 142.
Yeah, going north up towards
Yeah.
Lockhart, that whole section where Martindale is written.
Yeah.
All that area up there is them.
That green area.
Oh, great.
No, the purple is San Marcos ETJ.
Okay.
But if you go and look on the CAD, you'll see that it's Walton Group, and there's a couple divisions of Walton Group. But,
Interesting.
but they have a mud, so they have the ability to put a wastewater plant in. So
Good to
it's just
know.
squirrely,
One of our zoning codes, we squirrel.
That's right. That would cover a lot of things.
That would
I know,
cover
that
it.
would be very useful.
Wouldn't it be fun to write a zoning code that, like you talk? They read that, and go, oh, I know what you mean by that. You know, it's kind of R2 residential low intensity.
Yeah, we haven't added letters after our R1. We don't have R1A yet. It's not like San Marcos. I read San Marcos and I was like,
Please don't.
holy,
Let's please don't do that.
yeah, that was eye-opening.
Okay, so there you are. That's what you look like land wise. So next slide is our process. So we talked about, analyze, well, we have, we've been help with this. We've analyzed 5 existing plans. Those include the, it includes your ordinance for flood damage prevention. the 2020 hazard mitigation plan for Caldwell County.
Which is in the process of updating. Did I?
No,
hear that?
no, not yet.
Okay.
2025, they'll have to.
Oh, got
They just adopted something this last commissioners court.
Was that the flood maps?
That was the emergency management system.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's an implementation.
Yeah.
The floodplain maps were updated 18.
That we were there, they've done another set of maps.
20.
They just did some new maps for the runoff.
Farm?
Yeah, no, when we went to Collin County. That was the new flood
Oh,
maps
yeah.
from their engineers.
They're not adopted yet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They will adopt those. So there's a new flood maps coming.
Okay.
There's new flood maps coming.
Yeah, our engineer will be on top of that for sure.
I assume they probably go like 20 inches to 24 inches on the BFA.
Well, the 24 is already code, but I have the map for.
It was 20, it went 24.
Who is your city engineer?
Freeland and Turk, Gary Freeland and Thomas Turk.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, you know guys.
So we've done those 5 and assessed them, kind of run them through a resiliency filter to see what things we can bring forward. And what we've done is this document you have
I haven't
is,
given them the handout
oh,
yet.
oh,
This way.
oh, man, I learned to it earlier.
I'll pass it out while you continue on. I was saving it.
All right. So what the exercise here
Thank
was,
you.
to analyze these 5 plans and the park plan now and all of that. And what we're trying to do is take any goals, actions, strategies, we should do's, any kinds of things that look like they would belong in a goal or an objective. And we're going to categorize them in these categories, the land use and future development, transportation, housing, public facilities, and infrastructure. Under these categories, we can still hit on downtown improvement plan study. Or a whole economic development study, but any kind of goal or objective will still capture, even if it's not going to be a section in the plan, it'll still be a list of, and we found this too, kinds of things. When we get to that part of our process, we'll step back and see which ones of those you might want to adopt as a separate action item, or turn them over to your EDC group or anything. So it's not that we're only looking for these 5 things. It's that these 5 things are required IGLO to be addressed in the conference. So our job is to get you to a deliverable. And my job is to do that in the most efficient and fastest way, because that's how business works. The more we do, the better it goes.
I have a quick question on the housing, the unique situation that Dorothy was talking about in the floodplain. Would that fit into the housing? Would it be addressed
Yeah.
there, not an additional?
Yeah, it may already be in our list. I tried not to edit what we found too much. Because I wanted you to recognize it. Like, oh, okay, yeah, that's from the county's hazard mitigation plan. The county's, transit development plan. Or, so, said it has a mitigation plan. A lot of them are what you guys did in 2020. Very good. Very well stated. Even better than what I have here because they had outcome statements. So, but it's not that's not lost. the way I repurpose it is to put it in your implementation strategy that follows these goals and objectives. So instead of tying them to these descriptions, I'm holding back to bring all those together and see which of these you're going to carry forward. And then I'll find those outcomes and turn them into implementation strategy objectives. And the other thing is that we'll have the risk management objectives that are geared toward the specific hazard, like your top 4 hazard areas. That anything that was identified in that county hazard mitigation plan, we have to address directly. Like, this is what they said in that mitigation plan, and it was about this. We have to write it like a hazard mitigation plan.
Have to integrate it into.
So this is our technique of integration, is to not only focus on that, but treat every plan equally, where it gets to the table of being categorized under one of our main subject areas.
You know, and speaking to what Dorothy brought up, how do you integrate the cultures? We have a huge Hispanic culture, and if you go to the Catholic Church Festival, it's worlds apart from what if you go to duets.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not even the same world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how do you really get them to get involved and take this seriously?
Yeah,
That's,
I mean, out of all those plans, cultural resources, there's one goal. So part of what I'm trying to do also with this is show you gaps like that.
yeah,
Okay, hey, we've written 5 plans and spent however much on these and how many hours on them. And out of all 5 of those, we only came up with one cultural goal. And that is a very generic, general goal. Enhance accessibility to parks, library, and cultural amenities. I agree with it. It is a goal you should have, but it isn't something that addresses, real gap in your need.
So it might need a little bit more creativity to get them involved as concerned citizens or participating citizens
Right.
in a way that works for their culture, which we may not know that answer right now, but as we do the community survey and share it, we may get some ideas that we haven't thought of.
Yeah, oh yeah, I also meant to say, the survey results will also be rolled into goals and objectives. So they're going to be treated on equal billing as anything we came out with a professionally done plan.
Well, the two,
Everybody's voice is gonna have equal access being represented in the goals.
well, the two cultures definitely mingle on the river in our parks.
Yes.
yes, they do.
They all come together down there, so that's what I'm saying, back to the parks again, so
The gathering place.
that's a gathering place when it's 100 degrees.
They're beer drinkers
That's
instead
even
of,
better gathering. That's the universal language.
yeah. You know, one of the things over on 1979 in the neighborhood that Dorothy was talking about, that floods, they were worried about gentrification, just getting taxed out of their property. And I don't know, I see that coming, actually. When we're down here, when you have a house selling for $1 million, just because somebody did a little bit of fancy up, made it look nice, even though, hey, it might still be in the flood area. I don't know, that's a real
Yeah, creating a
concern.
housing bubble here.
Yes.
Look at East Austin.
Yeah.
Dang, I wish I'd have bought two.
I know, because they used to be real cheap.
You should see where we live, Georgetown. My house was assessed 2 years ago at 1.5 times that I had a mortgage for.
Oh,
Oh,
my.
That's come down to about 25%. than what I.
Well, the tax man just loves you.
Yeah, we have to go every year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck on that
Oh,
one.
no, it's online now. It's
For
simple.
those who have been in there for a long time, but that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So all this will lead to the comprehensive plan with two required annexes, which is a capital improvement plan, which will identify the streets and give the conditions and how wide they are, what's the material they're made of. And so that'll be a really useful plan for it going forward, as well as the zoning ordinance. What I hear tonight is indication there's probably gonna be some desire to maybe change parts of your zone. But we're not saying it must be changed, it's that it must be reviewed.
Mhm.
And you still have to take an action, even if y'all say, leave it alone, don't touch it. You still have to re-adopt it because we've changed your land use. So that's how that works. See, legal stuff, you have to have an adopted future land use plan. Or you
But we had a really close, I'm sorry, we had a real close call. There was talk at one time to change from mixed use to commercial. And a lot of people didn't know this at the time, but if we had changed that from mixed use to commercial, we could have had a truck stop 300 feet to San Marcos River. That's a prime example of you gotta be very careful when you're considering zoning changes or whatever, or, I mean, especially again, I'm sorry, like a broken record.
No, it's not.
We live next to this precious river. We have to be more than Georgetown, Austin, or anybody, because we live in this, or a river town.
We are stewards of the.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, we're if anything, we're oversensitive to it than
Very
anyone else.
And I would say most of the people in this town feel the same way as we do.
Yeah.
So.
That's a big part of the culture.
Yeah, that's what needs to be captured when we start making policies, ordinances. You know, writing things the way you guys want them written and described.
See, that,
This is your plan, it's not ours, it's.
see, this is what's so
Yeah.
special. This is what, I'm sorry, you go ahead.
No.
This is what's so special about Martindale or a city in general. We can do ordinances the county can't. And that's what we are stewards of the San Marcos River, because we are a city. And by the way, I don't know if you knew this, the reason this town was incorporated in 1982 is because San Marcos was gonna try to put their dump right there by our river. And that's why the people incorporated. That's why so this has been going on for 40 years. So that's why we incorporated, to protect basically our environment. And I think we're trying to do the right thing, and I think that's what needs to be addressed here.
Well, I mean, one of our clients is Creed work.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know, they're saying, how do we get something other than this
Giant.
huge landfill?
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're struggling to find an identity. You guys have an identity already. I mean, it's well established. Those guys are trying to figure out what are we, as a community, what are we?
But see, that problem is developers want to come in and do it as cheap as possible.
Yeah.
And pollute our river. But again, people come here and they develop their development because they got the river, we got the parks. But again, a lot of them don't want to be stewards because all they're trying to do is make a quick buck and go to the next project. So I'm not saying all developers like that, I'm just saying, I'm not.
No, I'm not director of planning in a couple of cities. Yes,
Yeah.
there's all varieties of development. Not all of them are evil intentions either, so.
We've had some
Very
really,
community oriented, and they'll invest in a downtown enterprise just because they want this place to stay the same, because they got their piece, now they're gonna protect it. So we're gonna help, you know, make,
we've had,
reinforce the city.
we've had some pretty intense discussions with developers in this council chambers. I mean, very heated. Because, you know, we're all volunteers and we're all live in this town. We want to protect it. And people have a right to develop their property. I don't, but property rights. But again, it has to be done, to protect the environment.
One thing I'm gonna challenge y'all with is, review these draft goals.
Yes.
And I mean, if there's redundancy, forgive me.
Or add something.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. add,
Under cultural,
Art has been miscategorized. Or if it should be a goal and objective in two categories. It's that important that it needs to be covered as transportation and historical down. Might be a pedestrian sidewalk system.
Oh, definitely need a pedestrian
That would
sidewalk.
be, that would show up in both of these areas. Don't, I'm telling you, if there's redundancy and it doesn't make sense, go ahead and point it out to me, but, you know, if there's a need for redundancy, that something needs to be. Like Wimberley was just hitting me Monday night, the water, I said, all this is an example of your land use. It needs to say, that's what they were talking about, it needs to say restrict. Guys, the guiding plan, you got this.
Well, all our just go to the same way.
And the other part is, I want you to think outside of the idea of an ETJ at all. And think in terms of what areas within the next 10 years can we really influence? That we have the tools to guide development into that area. And it may be a corridor, it may not be,
I tell you
oh,
what,
we're gonna move.
I want the other side of the river, that's what I want. I want those neighborhoods on the other side of the river to come in and protect both sides of the river. Yeah, we're working on it.
Yeah, so think of that, and while you think of that, think about, why should we just reinforce what we have? And this is an extreme position, throw up the walls and say, we don't care what happens outside of our corporate city limits, we're big enough as we are.
Well,
And we want to reinvest in where we are and not try to rely on new development for tax. base.
well,
That's the extreme versus.
what happens in this town is people that do not live in our city limits, live in our TJ, they want us to do things to protect their, especially people on the other side of the river. They say, Martindale, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I said, well, hey, come on in and join in the fun. And that's the problem, but nobody wants to pay taxes. See, that's the problem.
You gotta,
They
you
want
gotta
us
pay,
to
you gotta pay
say,
the kitty.
protect us from truck stops, a junkyard or whatever, but hey, but we're not gonna pay you taxes. So that's kind of the problem we run into. Yeah,
Who is that over there?
there's several of them.
Is it just a neighborhood though? or
No,
is
there's
it-
three.
it's very expensive
You wanna go back?
neighborhood.
You can go back to the, yeah, we'll show it to you. There's multiple, okay,
The other one's probably.
the other one. Okay, those, where the
see.
lakes are,
Yeah.
that's
Right there.
right there,
where the
San
lights
Oh,
Marcos.
are.
I got it, I see it.
They're $1 million
San Marcos
homes,
River Ranch, and then you go
multi-million.
You go upstream. You got River Bend, then you got Spring River, and then downstream, you got the Falls of Martindale. So those are on the other side of the river.
Right.
Yeah.
Just in the county though? They're not in a.
They're
city?
in Guadalupe County because they're across the river.
Yeah, so, yeah, this is the corporate city limits as of today.
They're in the ETJ, it's just. Yeah,
Right, but this is why I'm challenging you with, you can't think like that anymore. We can't think about, again, when I was director of planning in Idaho, and it was growing faster any place in the country for a couple of years. You know, what tools did we have? Well, we have ATJ control. They have to come talk to us, and the county county engineer's got to bring his happy butt in and tell us someone's intending to develop. That's gone now. You know,
And that's
the
gone.
visit is gonna be, hey man, how do I get out of their ETJ? Because I don't like their subdivision.
yeah,
Exactly.
90 days, that's all it takes.
That's what's gonna hurt the outskirts of the urban areas. This is gonna be an escape to not pay city taxes or be ruled by city ordinances. You know, as a property owner, I'm like,
Yeah, but-
maybe that helped me.
Yeah, but all they're doing is making a mud And the mud is more than they pay in
It's
property tax.
negotiated development.
Yeah, well, no, it's not even negotiated because the mud is, there's a Highway 21, there was a mud election. You know how many people voted on the creation of the mud? This is over a $50 million mud. You know how many people voted on the creation and the board of directors? One person. They put a trailer on the vacant lot and make him a resident, and he votes, and he's an agent of the property owner. One person. I went down to go pull the record. My wife was with me. I said, I want to know how many people voted on the mud. The kid didn't even look up. He goes, one. He didn't even go back and look. He didn't even go back. He goes, I already know one.
Developers say what they do.
And then they create a mud, and it's a self-government, and they already guarantee the profit on all the structures that they put underneath the mud. Those homeowners who inherit that after they elect the board already have the debt. It's pre-established. They're paying a debt that they think they got for free because they bought the house affordably.
Yeah, I don't have to pay city tax.
I don't have to pay city taxes, and I bought my house for
You're paying
$244 or
fees.
$270. Then they turn around and they have to pay $1,500 a month in a mud.
You're just spelling it different.
Yeah.
Taxes, fees, it's still money.
Yeah. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
Yeah, thank you.
But I hope this is engaging and I feel like we're, you know, like what we're trying to do, the conversation on it, yeah. Work our way through this, don't be in a hurry, but when things can get done, we're gonna go ahead and get.
A treatment plant, let's give us some money. for a treatment
We
plant.
wrote it, and I Googled it.
I'm messing with you. I'm trying to get anything I can.
One last thing, I would like you all to use the QR code I developed for you. I will send, probably the three of you, Catherine, because I usually do Adrian, Jared,
And me.
For the press release, we could go ahead and get that out, and we could have the QR code that people could take the survey in the community. Facebook post that says your voice matters, and another QR code and the link to take the survey. And if you scan it, you can take the survey yourself. It's not locked in at this point, but I did go ahead and develop some kind of standard questions tonight. I have a few more that I want to add or shift a little about the downtown area. What would the community like to see? Really focus on the treatment plan, parks and rec and roads to see what opinions we can get from them. But the thing is, this QR code will work. Anytime we change a question, shift a little, we have to be careful that the results are saved. So I would have to add a question and archive another one. But that QR code will be your community survey code and link.
Okay.
Good question. Does this go out to ETJ residents as well? Or could it go to anybody?
It can go to whoever you want it to.
And in the survey, it asks you where you live.
It does not, but I can add that.
I would.
because-
Yes,
Okay,
please.
so how do I say it?
Well, they're in your planning area, so they should.
We could say, are you inside the city limits?
Yeah.
Are you in the ETJ, or are you outside the ETJ? Most no.
Yeah.
Oh, especially the ones that are ET.
There's 20 or 25% of the people in the ETJ think they're in the city.
Because their address is more.
Well, more.
Oh,
Where your post office is.
The third one, I didn't-
Not just outside of ETJ.
Oh, yeah, no,
That's that.
Yeah, I can do that,
I made a comment.
This can be on your Facebook page, so anybody that sees your Facebook page can go in and take it.
Is there- I'm sorry, is there any way to just put the address on it because of the fact that people don't necessarily know if they're in or out?
As far,
They believe that they are in the city limits.
so we've done that a couple of ways. Some people prefer that it's anonymous when they take it, so they can have the option to give more input.
What about, I'm not sure.
We could use that as a, I don't know, yes,
I
we've
don't
got
know.
that.
And reach out to them.
We can ask them if they would like to add their name and address and phone number. We did that with one community. Other communities have said we don't really want it to be in any way.
Can you just use a geotag?
Oh, yeah.
Survey Monkey's not quite that sophisticated.
And,
We try to keep it very simple, but I can add, if you would like
Oh,
to,
you're right.
well, I forget how we worded it, but we gave them the option to give their name, address, phone number, email. And we also asked, how would you like for us to communicate with you? Like Facebook and then, whatever, email, text messaging, that kind of thing. So they would have to put their phone number if they want text message.
Or maybe they could put their, you could give them a drop down. I know Survey Monkey does drop downs easily, where it says like Hobson, Butterfly Meadows, yada, 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 or other.
What community are they living in?
So you want it as specific as community? How many communities would be, because we can add like 7 on some, 9 on
Our
others.
neighborhoods.
Yeah.
West
like
Ridge.
They could put their neighborhood in there and just put it in a comment box.
Spring River,
Yeah, so there's.
River Bend.
And then
That way
you would
we
know.
at least would be able to trace back the general area. And because I think at least from some of the work that I've done so far, it's the answers that we have are really going to vary by the area where they live.
Okay.
Yeah.
that's a good idea,
Good
Laura.
I
idea.
think that is a very good idea, and I will add something that intrigues them enough to want to put their neighborhood in. What neighborhood are you in? That way it can be very quickly identified.
Yeah, they can
if they're-
define that community,
Yeah,
And
what
we're
does that
gonna find
mean?
out exactly.
A
where they
church
are.
community?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Good idea.
Good
Thank you.
suggestion, Laura.
And I'll change that in the morning, but you all can look at the survey. You can take the survey, give it a little test, see what you think, and give me any feedback directly. My email, I have a card here, or you can let me know.
My husband and I'll probably answer so differently. You'll be shocked we're in the same.
Going one by one.
It's very enlightening so far.
Well,
What,
men and women they're different.
I live with the architecture committee chairwoman. in our neighborhood. And I'm like, why are you coming down? Because I got a mini RV in the
That's
truck.
my direct email one.
Because it's 18 feet and 16 feet is the minimum, maximum.
Exactly, exactly.
And I'm like, yeah, but they may just be there for
You know, I got
the.
that one.
So you tell them, encourage guys instead of restrict.
thank you.
She's very,
So our next meeting is August 1st. That's what we have scheduled for you all. And Tim, would you just give them a little overview of what the next meeting will be?
the next meeting will be a workshop. And it's not gonna be the next time we talk to you, but we'll prep you for this workshop with information about those categories. Some of these issues we're talking about, ETJ, what does that mean for a city this size? And have, just kind of have the thing go back, and base studies that we do with, right now, we're calculating acreage for your existing land use, how much do you have set aside for the different types?
Is it possible, I mean, I know a couple of cities are fighting the legislature. Is there any way y'all can give us an update on that? Y'all have any information on that?
Yeah.
On your next workshop, I mean, just.
No, we're hoping to.
Because I know,
We're gonna
maybe you can
email
tell me how-
documents to you, or we're gonna.
how many cities have gone after the state with this? Because I know it's affecting a lot of communities. I mean, I know it's in the courts, huh?
Is there something specific you're?
No, I mean, talking about the ETJ
Okay, that's what I thought you were
and
talking
getting out of the ETJ. I know it's in the courts, but I don't know anything about it at this point.
Well, you call the TML. The TML, actually, we might want to check the website. There should be an update. Usually they
Yeah, there
update
is.
stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, there's an update. If y'all have any inside scoop,
Yeah, we'll definitely, because that's your plan.
that affects you guys too. Every community, every town's.
Oh, yeah, it's an issue in every
State-
conversation.
States taking power like they always do. So.
Yes, we will. So August 1st, I'll be in touch before then. Go ahead and send me any comments on the survey. And then if you need help coordinating the press release, getting it to the newspaper, your Facebook post, I can send you the post so you can put that out. If you like the way it is, you can send it like that. And hey, it's just posted. We'll see along the way. We can change a question. If we get a lot of response we hadn't expected, we might want to get more. Something, maybe we're not getting anything, we can change it a little available too. So over the next few weeks and the next month and a half, we can see what we're getting.
Okay,
Okay,
Awesome.
thank you very much.
All right.
so we gotta go to work.
Yes.
Uh,